Welcome to ReCall The Midwife. We are a fan podcast, and every week we watch an episode of Call The Midwife and then we talk about it. Today we are watching Series 11, Alex, episode
8.
And it's the aftermath of the train crash. I'm Becky.
I'm Alex.
I'm Jen. A reminder that this week's episode deals with premature labor, teen pregnancy, infant mortality, and loss. So if those topics are ones you'd prefer to skip this time, we understand and hope you join us for the next one. In this week's episode, Nonnatus House is dealing with the fallout from the train crash. Sister Julianne and Dr. Turner are trapped inside the train car, and their injuries are very serious. It's all hands on deck to treat the injured, and meanwhile, Sister Hilda and Sister Frances are supporting mothers through delivery and loss. Phyllis returns to support the crew, and after so much hardship, the team gets some good news. So I made it really short because I think
I've got the most notes in the world. Exactly. We need to get through it.
Yeah. But also, girls, I'm going to say two things right at the top. I haven't talked about this in a while. I sobbed throughout the entire episode.
I cried and I never cry.
I know. And I think this is going in one of my top 5 of Call The Midwife ever.
Oof.
I'm saying it right now. This was such a good episode. It was
better than the first episode. And really, it's just one big episode.
Yeah. But if I had to pick part 1 over part 2, I would pick part 2.
You know what I really liked in this episode?
What?
The explanation about why Matthew's there bossing everyone around medically.
Yes.
Because I was like, last week, who's he think he bloody is? But now we've got an explanation that he did national service. Still doesn't really explain. I'm sure he's not had proper training, but still, I liked some form of explanation because last week I was fuming.
He did it.
Can I just say something off the top? So, Mrs. Corbett, what's Mrs. Corbett's name?
I don't
Adina.
know. I don't remember a lot of the ladies'
Adina.
names. Sorry.
It was Adina.
She's still in labour.
Thinking husband's going to show up.
Yeah, they're listening out for his train. Now, I know there's a viaduct right outside. Is it called a viaduct? No, it's a viaduct to do with water.
I thought that's an aqueduct.
Oh, yeah.
This is year 1 geography and history coming through here from primary school.
This is like really calling back like our early days when we were like, wait, what happened again? Wait, like we haven't referenced the Boer War in a while, but like this is giving very like Boer War energy. Like
I think we should have a Boer War special.
Yeah, it's a viaduct. Now, I know there's a viaduct right outside Nonnatus house. Have we ever heard a train before?
Well, no, that's probably why Sister Monica Jones couldn't hear anything.
We've never heard a train, but yet the train has crashed right there.
Yeah. I mean, we have heard trains before when you go, we've seen them cross and stuff before, we have.
No, not on Call The Midwife, we haven't.
Wait,
my God,
no, sorry, I'm thinking of another show. Yes, we have. The one on Call The Midwife. With what do you call them? Flat, you can hear it loads.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I don't remember which one that was, but I remember that reference.
Yeah.
You guys, I didn't know that's what a viaduct meant.
Well, you learn something new every day in this podcast.
Honestly, and thank God. Thank God, yeah.
And now what one with water's called as well. It's an aqueduct.
Well, here's the definition. A viaduct is a long bridge-like structure, typically a series of arches carrying a road or railroad across a valley or other low ground.
Yeah.
I'm gonna blame this on
maybe it's not, because it's not a valley or low ground.
Well, yeah,
It's still the arches.
Well, the way the train looks in the show, it looks like it's just a train track on ground, and it's not like actually a viaduct where it's got like there's no valley, like there's no like it's to me when I think of a viaduct, I just think like, oh, that's a bridge with a train track on it. Like that's
Poplar's real name's actually Poplar Valley.
Yeah, but the train tracks are not. The train tracks are running on ground, and I know you're making fun of me, but
I'm not making fun of you. They have always been under those arches because do you remember when what do you call her? Oh, she had the stroke, Sister Evangelina.
Yeah,
and she was coming from there. There was a scene with the arches and the train was going over the top.
I don't remember that.
Well, anyways, they have always been there.
Point is, the train crashed like on the part that was the ground part, and it was like right near the train station, and it was right on top of Poplar, basically.
Yeah. And also, Sister Monica Jones would have bloody heard it.
Yes, absolutely.
As would the bloody Turners.
I was surprised that the Turners didn't hear, and also Sister Hilda didn't hear it. Like, she came out and she was like...
That's in my notes.
Yeah, like the receptionist.
Miss Higgins.
Miss Higgins comes out. Well, no, Sister Hilda comes out getting a candy for the mom, and Miss Higgins is there, and she's like, "Oh, what, you're stealing all my things? Like, stop thief! Ha ha ha!" You know. And she's like, "Oh, wait, like, you don't know? And she says, well, what do you mean? And she's like, well, we've had this huge train crash. Tons of people are injured. Tons of people are, she's like, oh my God, and it's just like, yeah, it's just completely,
Yeah, but
completely unaware.
don't forget, Miss Higgins now lives across the square from Nonnatus House. She's only at the maternity hospital because she's getting more supplies.
Yeah, but I still think the maternity hospital, they'd have heard stuff.
You think it's close enough that they would have heard it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I always think of it
Bex,
as like just a few
me and
streets
you
away.
last week were doing loads of examples.
The explosions that we've ever heard.
Yeah, literally. Any noise we've ever heard, we were driving Jen mad. So that's not usual though, is it, Jen?
No, definitely not. She says with her sarcasm in her voice.
So last week we were on this we were left there and we were like this cliffhanger. Oh, and we were just like, what? And luckily we could obviously watch it. But I remember when we first watched it, I was so annoyed. So annoyed.
Yeah. I love that they did this though. I thought it was so un-Call the Midwife to do it this way. And I kind of like digging it.
Well, yeah, but also it's really quite a hard episode to kind of make notes on and talk about because they keep flitting from one thing to another. So
my notes are so all over the place.
Yeah, it's erratic. So I've kind of put it into like the Nonnatus House, the train, and then the aftermath of all that.
Okay.
I put it in no order whatsoever.
So, well, let's try. Should we try the Nonnatus House order? So sure. Fred says people are climbing over sheds and it's not safe. And then Matthew's telling him to send people to Nonnatus House. And I was really annoyed about this until we got the explanation about what Matthew had done, why Matthew had, had experience. Because Lucille asked him, didn't she? I think she was a bit like me. Like, Matthew, why are you telling everyone what to do? And if you've got medical experience, he's like, yes, from my national service.
Well, he says something very medical to her. Like, he says, like, oh, there's a young man with a compound fracture in the other room. And she's like, wait a minute, how are you assessing these things? And he's like, oh, I know, I learned it all in my national service time. She's like, oh, okay, well, now I get you.
I mean, I could tell you what a compound fracture is.
I couldn't.
I know, but
do you know what really annoyed me? I'm going to say this now, just really quick. Matthew was getting beds together, which was amazing, right? Amazing, right? Upstairs, there's loads of beds. Why did they not put people who've had broken arms and stuff in the beds upstairs?
Oh no, I don't think that. No, I'm going to disagree because the point is that it's just a triage. Like they need this is not a place for people to convalesce. Like
but if you're running out of space, you still need just to be comfortable.
I know, but how are they going to get people up like 10 flights of stairs? And everything?
That is true. The stairs, Alex.
Okay, fair. We'll bring the mattresses down.
Yeah, I mean,
and the bedding.
I think it was like they were just trying to make pallets for like short term. I mean, even he calls and says, like, I want an ambulance specifically for this location to like come here and pick up all these people because we have to get them to hospital. They're a critical condition. Like, you have to have people accessible in that situation.
So Mojo was really useful and she was talking about the Blitz and how the shards go everywhere and you must prepare for burns too. She was, she was proper.
She was on it.
She was loving it.
She knew what to expect. I'm surprised she hadn't been prepping.
Well, yeah. So the Turners, in the meantime, were worrying about the train, or worrying where he was, and worrying it might not be their train and all this. So they called Nonnatus House. So bearing in mind, we've had other scenes with the Turners that we'll talk about later. But they call Nonnatus House and they speak to Cyril. And then basically they find out and send people over and stuff. And in that same time, Violet's there speaking to Reggie and she's trying to get him to go home with her. This is the best thing that anyone's ever said. He was like, yes, but I can make tea. I want to help. Do you know what, Reggie? That is the best goddamn thing I've ever heard. Who would not want a cup of tea in that? I'd just be like, yes, please. I'll have 1,200.
That's one of the most British things I've ever heard in my life. To hand a person who's just gone through a traumatic event like that, just like a hot cup of tea. Like, that is so British.
Cup of tea? You drink tea, don't you?
I do, but that would not be something that we would do. Like, that's just not an American thing.
You would do.
Is that not the first thing we would do? Is give someone a cup of tea?
In a crisis situation?
No.
I think it's an intrinsically British thing.
It's so British, guys. It's so British. I mean, people will say. I mean,
I'm drinking one right now, guys.
I mean, people I know there's a lot of tea drinkers and tea lovers out there, so I'm not gonna say like never happens or whatever. But like a lot of times, people like if you're waiting in a hospital, it's like, oh, I'll go get a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? And it's like that kind of a thing. But it's not like this national soothing drink in the same way that it is for you guys. Well, not the way I've experienced it anyway.
Coffee,
huh? Yeah.
You're all hyped up on coffee.
Yeah, we need to get some
well-sugared tea.
Tea has a lot of caffeine too, you guys.
It does, to be fair.
Can I just say,
sorry, go on.
Sheila left Timothy with the kids.
Yeah.
She goes off to Nonnatus House.
Yeah.
She's trotting up the street with her handbag. Why does she need a handbag? What's she taking in a handbag?
Probably she's probably taken her, what do you call it? Well, house keys for starters, but she's also taken her passport and stuff because she's a next of kin. She's thought of everything. Also, do you know what annoyed me about that? Timothy was like, Mum, we weren't speaking. And instead of being like, don't worry, he knows you love him or anything like that, she was like, that can't be helped now.
I know. I thought that was really insensitive, actually. Sheila was really not herself this week. Like, the way she was with Tim, like, the fact that she heard about the train crash and was like, oh, no, I don't think it's your dad's train. Like, no, it can't be his. Like, ma'am, you know what his schedule he was on. And then when she called Nonnatus House, she was like, please, Cyril, tell me it's nothing bad has happened. He's like, I'm really sorry, I can't tell you that. And she's like, oh, my God. So then she, like, leaves and goes up there. And I mean, I'm sobbing. So, like, I'm not saying that, like, I'm mad at her for this. To have her just go to the chapel and kneel down and just start sobbing, like, literally just losing her marbles. Again, totally fine that she did it. I'm not judging her for doing it, but it's not. It didn't feel very Sheila-like. Like, to me, she seems like a spring into action kind of gal.
Yes, and then Cyril kind of comes in, and he doesn't sound annoyed, but the kind of intonation was, "Come where you can help." Like, get up off your knees, stop crying, and come where you can help.
Yeah, but do you not think in this situation, you've got a whole bunch of medical professionals. The people that really shine is Matthew, Cyril, and Miss Higgins.
Well, true. Lucille, I thought, really shone as well.
Well, it was a slow start.
And I will say, for Sister Frances, when she did turn up, because obviously she was doing some other stuff she didn't realise, when she turned up, she was bossing it. Although she was a real naysayer later on.
I think we're going to say the same thing.
We are.
I think we all felt it. It was kind of intense the way she was. I mean, she was really having a very intense episode from start to finish.
But yeah. So on the Lucille, Matthew, actually I've put here, Lucille, Matthew, Mojo, Cyril, and Miss Higgins were absolutely bossing it. So totally agree. But Nancy, I totally forgot about Nancy, that she was actually in the bloody crash. She's just upstairs, like covered in blood and glass.
Well, no, because she stumbles down from the train, bumps into Fred.
Yeah.
Then she ends up. Does Sister Monica Joan go and get her and be like, you need to get downstairs?
Yeah, I actually really liked the scene, and I was very much more on. I ended up seeing both their perspectives, but I was on kind of Nancy's side more until Sister Monica Jones said her part, and then I was like, okay, I do get your point. Like, but I liked the scene between them. I thought they were both very like well matched, and I thought it was a really strong scene between the two of them.
I was all prepared to go all guns blazing on Mojo with it, being like, she's just been bloody rattled around a train. She's she's suffering from shock. She's got nausea and all this, but at the same time, they do need every bit of help they can get in a really bad situation, and she might even help her kind of just to feel a bit more useful than rather just lying there, and it's just a horrible situation.
Yeah,
and she did get which again, beautiful.
I did like the bit where Nancy was like, "This is the Raven."
Yeah, and then she was blaming Mrs. Joan about the clairvoyant as well. Do you know what I did like when they were talking about that, and Sister Monica Joan was like, during hours as dark as these, we cannot engage with any aspect of the supernatural. Hang on, mate. You were the one visiting the bloody clairvoyant last week.
Well, that's what she said, though. She's like, well, that was when everything was fine and nice and everything. And she's like, I could just like do all this like silly stuff and it wasn't a big deal. But she's like, now something terrible's happened. And so everyone's got to like step up and, take care of business and all that.
Yeah, all thoughts beyond the practical and corporeal must be set aside, even God, while we deal with what is urgent and put before us, which is true, to be fair.
Yeah, but, I thought no one's got time for nonsense at this stage, Yeah,
and obviously then Sister Frances turned up. Then Dr. Tim comes, right?
Oh, God.
With it.
What? Oh, God! Why, oh, God?
Well, he came with his dad's bag and white coat, right? Because he was like, oh, my dad will need his bag. No, I thought, you know what, mate? You're a medical student. You could probably help as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's my first thought on that. Like, don't just put it to the fact that you're not useless. Like, that's what annoyed me. He was like, all last week, he was like going on about how he's been an independent. This is, bearing in mind, it's the same bloody day in this episode. And he's like, it's me. I'm an adult now and all this. And now he's like, oh, daddy, here's your bag. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're a medical student.
He could have at least been doing triage at Nonnatus House.
Yeah, I think that's what he would have done if he hadn't got roped into actually going to the train by the police officer when he saw the white coat. I think he would have gone and done triage. I think he would have gone there.
And then he did get mistaken, but then he went with it. And I was a bit like, this is kind of thing you see on Casualty and you worry about. Do you know what I mean?
Wait, what?
Well, he got mistaken. Instead of being like, oh no, I'm not a doctor, these are my dads. He just was like, okay, And put the
Wait a
coat
minute.
on
So
and
you
went.
just blasted him for being basically a doctor, except for his final qualifications, and not running to the scene of the crime fast enough and into peril quick enough because he didn't have the foresight, because he was really an adult and complaining about wanting to be treated like an adult. And then now you're just saying that he shouldn't have run in there because he's not qualified. He doesn't have all the training, and he should have just been like, "Oh, I'm a kid. I'm going to go hang out."
No, I think he should have gone to Nonnatus House to back to the triage. I don't think he should have gone to the bloody scene of the disaster and got people to follow him and tell people what to do.
Have either one of you ever been in a crisis situation before?
Yeah.
Like a true crisis?
Yeah.
And you're always using your 100% best judgment. You like all of your decisions are well considered, no emotion, no second guessing, no lack of insight, or maybe I should have done this instead of that. Like
they've always been perfect.
Let's give everybody a little.
You met me.
Let's give everybody a lot of grace. Like, this is a situation where no one expected this. Everyone was just thinking on their feet as fast as they can. Tim was working with the information he had, the situation as best he had. I think we need to give Tim a pass. I think we need to give a lot of folks a pass, to be honest.
Well, to be fair, Tim then. Well,
to be honest, I just did that more to wind you up, Jen.
I know. And I didn't. And Tim was very heroic. I mean, he really did pitch in exactly where he was needed.
Yeah, but it did annoy me a bit the way the professionals were like following this like kid around, and he was like in there. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think he should have put the white coat on. Dr. Turner was right when he admonished him later.
He tied it around his waist,
and then he put it on.
Oh, you guys. It was dark. Like all the other cops and like firefighters and everything were just as frantic as Tim was. They saw a kid who looked like a young doctor because he's carrying a medical bag and has a doctor's coat on him, and he looks like he's literally just rushed to the scene because he heard what happened. And so, not interrogating any of it any further than that, like literally just picking up on the most basic clues, they were like, "Come on, Doc, like get up the ladder." And like, in all fairness to Tim, he ran up after trying to be helpful. Like,
see, I do feel like I would have got to the train and been like, actually, I think I should probably leave this to professionals. But then,
if you're
ever chicken out, is what you're saying.
Like that, I hope Timothy comes to your rescue.
I've not done a week's training, let alone a year's training. No, but so let's go to the train now while talking about this, right?
Okay.
So Nancy says to Fred she doesn't know where they are, blah, 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 right? Now, firstly, we see Sister Julianne waking up, right? And I'm sorry, but I absolutely lolled. And I love this episode. I totally agree. But the way the teacup had no handle on it was just next to her, and she like picked it up like, what? I was drinking a tea and suddenly I'm not. Like, it just made me laugh. And I thought it was absolutely brilliantly done. I'm not taking the mick. It was a brilliant episode.
No, I know. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And then she wakes Patrick up, which is amazing that she actually could make him up. And then the line that I absolutely howled at, right? I thought, do you know what, you two? This is lols. It appears I have mislaid a shoe like Cinderella, right? And then Dr. Turner, we have to get out, preferably before midnight. Oh, I loved it. So anyway, so then it's just them three really in that car. All the football fans are out. So it's Dr. Turner, Sister Julianne, and Mrs. Carney. And Mrs. Carney wakes up screaming, right?
Oh my God, poor Mrs. Carney.
Again, sobbing. Just was crying the whole time at this.
Oh, it was just awful. And she'd had burns all over her arm, but then they realised she had worse injuries. She was bleeding elsewhere.
Mrs. Carney made me I was like, tears
so lovely.
Between her and Sister Julian together, and then Dr. Turner kind of like just holding them both up. Oh my gosh, this was great. This was just truly such high quality acting on Call The Midwife.
I didn't cry until Sister Julian took a wimple off, right, to treat her.
Oh
my God, it just, because obviously we're not used to seeing Jenny Agutter. We see Miss Sister Julianne with the wimple.
Yeah.
Her, and it just was like this vulnerability to her, but like pureness that she'd done that for her. But she was also in danger. They were all three of them in this perilous situation. They didn't know when they were getting out, if they were getting out. Oh, it was just so well done.
When Mrs. Carney was saying, like, you were at all my births, which we'd known in the last episode, because she talks about how much she loves the sisters when they are just meeting, when everything is okay on the train. And when she says, like, when you were there, she's like, I always loved the sisters when they would come and everything. And she's like, and, when we would get to the bit where you'd stop calling me Mrs. and start calling me Dorothy. And Sister Julian was like, well, yeah, that's something we like to do when we know we're getting close to the end. Oh, my girls. Oh, my. Just cartoon tears just pouring out of my eyes, because it was such beautiful. I haven't talked again about this in a while, but like the writing was just like in that scene was just so exemplary. Like the way that they juxtaposed the bringing in of new life with her, birth stories, and then the end of her life, and then just all of that. Like, it was so simple. It was so just elegant, and the writing was so perfect. And just they all were just. And Mrs. Carney, God bless, she was doing all of it, just like laying prone on her back with like this burnt arm, like covered in burnt arm makeup.
If only they had cling film.
Yeah, she could barely move her like eye. She was emoting and acting so well in such a hard setup.
Yeah.
And oh God.
I will say it must be so soothing having a nun with you at the end.
Well, yeah, the fact that she was doing that prayer, and then Dr. Turner was like,
yeah.
Dr. Turner kind of ruined the moment a tiny bit. He was like,
they absolutely
is that for the dead?
Because she's gone.
Or is it for? And she's like, it says for the dead. And it was, well, she's gone. Which I was a bit like, that was such a beautiful scene.
Well, I was like, could you just wait 2 minutes, sir? Like, you don't have anywhere to go. Like, what are you trying to like?
And then they're
But
there.
He was
waiting.
already starting to like lose his mind because he had a bad concussion in the back of his head. So
yeah,
he was kind of not all the way with it. So I think I could give him a little bit of grace there.
And then they said they just have to wait. And there were Sister Julianne, again, a lovely scene, lovely writing. So much of my life is about waiting. And then, they were talking about it, and he was like, well, people are waiting for us for the Cavalier. And she was like, do you mean the cavalry? Like, obviously, his mind's going a bit.
And she's like, I think you got a TBI, sir. Like, I don't think that this is really your finest moment. Like,
and then Timothy, Dr. Tim in his white coat, Dad,
yeah, he
Dad. Does. And Sister Julianne was like, here! And it's very, very rare we hear Sister Julianne shout.
She was doing such good, like injury acting. She was like, oh, my ribs, oh, but like she was doing it in such like a real way. It was so good.
But yeah, I did like the way that Dr. Turner, when he first saw Tim, was like, you shouldn't be wearing a white coat, Tim. I thought,
Tim was like, oh, Dad, yeah.
But then he quizzes him. He's like, what should you use now? Like, what do you think you should do now? Test a pulse, and what's it like? Like, for God's sake. So then,
Sister Julianne just goes to show that actually another reason why Tim shouldn't have put the white coat on, because he had to be coached by someone with concussion.
I'm going to leave it there. So anyway, Sister Julianne is then in pain and she's panicking, right? So he takes a pulse and it's rapid and thready and her lips are turning blue, right? So he's like, give her one aspirin. He's like, aspirin? He's like, my bag, right? So then that's
again another reason.
Well, no, we're not doing reasons anymore because Jen's going to explode at us. And then she's going to close the laptop and we're never going to have a podcast again. So... Say sorry, Bex. So anyway, Dr. Turner and Sister Julianne then come down. But basically, they don't see them be treated in the thing or be removed. We just kind of see them on stretchers afterwards.
Yeah. I did one. I was like, how are they going to get out of that train? Like, it was a gnarly,
I think they just thought, you know what? We don't need to show that. We don't need to show that.
Yeah.
So Dr. Turner's got a broken arm and a head injury, and he was like, and then they show him in the hospital. They kind of just fast forward that bit to the hospital. But in the meantime, he's also saying that Dr. Turner's saying about Sister Julianne that she needs a cardio specialist. So we're all really worried at home, and obviously they are at Nonnatus House as well. And but then they see like more of a happy scene with like Sheila and Dr. Tim and Angela in the hospital, but the kids are having to come in one by one. And Tim was like, I said some terrible things to you. Dr. Turner's like, I can't remember. I've got a head injury. Go and get yourself a chocolate bar.
Dr. Turner in the hospital was just loving life.
Yeah, but also, Bex, it reminded me of you. Like, we don't need to talk about anything that's actually important or is an issue here. Let's just brush it under the carpet and go and get a chocolate bar.
Why discuss on all this unpleasantness? It's
why
in the
talk
past.
About things that are important that means that we can move on from them? Let's just brush them under the carpet and have a chocolate bar.
Yeah, but what's been said is been said. Just
oh
move
my
on.
God.
I thought you were going to push back against that statement. You just dug yourself deeper.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
God. You say things all the time. You just, you can't take it back. You just get on with it.
You could be like, I'm not going to say it again. I'm going to work on that in the future. I'm really sorry. I really love you.
Well,
and just never mention it again and have this awkwardness for a while.
Well, guys, can we just talk about what could potentially be a controversial scene? Tim has that moment with his dad. He tries to have this really heartfelt moment with his dad. His dad is like, oh, it's okay or whatever. Well, then cut to Dr. Turner is talking to Sheila and he's like, oh, what did he say? He said something about like,
oh, he said he said when he was in that crash, he's never felt further from home.
Yes, he's like, which I actually, again, even
That
though
was very heartfelt.
It was, and thank you for reminding me, because even though I totally forgot, I'm gonna blame the heat because it's so hot right now and my brain is just like mush. But
I mean, fair.
that was an amazingly written scene. Like, I love that analogy of like feeling like an astronaut, like you were just, thousands of miles away from everything that mattered. And he said, but instead of looking out that window to Earth, like again, imagining he's on a spaceship, he's like, all I could see was like our home and like your face, like you're like, and he's like, now that, and the way that it was written, he was like, now that I'm looking at you, I can tell I'm back at home. And it was, I feel bad saying this, but I wish there was something where he had not singled out Sheila, but he had talked about like their family instead of just her, because it did feel a bit to me like, yes, I love the kids and all that kind of stuff, but like, it's you and me, babe. And I just wish there had been like a word about, like, he did say our home, and I'll give him that, but it just seemed very like Sheila and Patrick, and I don't know why. It just,
no, I know what you mean.
I wish he'd included
for a
the
fact my
kids.
husband prefers me daughter to me. Like, but it's true, you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I prefer it to it. Anyway, so
well, it just had this air of like, oh, like I love my wife more than my children, and I was like, oh, like, do we really have to say these things out loud? Like, why can't we just all pretend like we all love each other the exact same amount?
Also,
like,
see what else we found out about in this scene, that Dr. Turner's left-handed.
I know. As a fellow Southpaw, I just raised my right hand. As a fellow Southpaw, I just raised my left hand. I
mean, you didn't have to explain that. No one else.
I know. Yeah, I was like, oh, Dr. Turner, yes, he's one of us.
Wow. So, back at Nonnatus House at this point, Lucille and Cyril are going to her old bedroom, because obviously they can't go to their flat because that's where all the windows are.
No, we've skipped too far.
Okay, what do you want to say, Bex?
Because meanwhile, Sister Frances, meanwhile, that's at the end of the night after it's all been dealt with.
Yeah, I was just doing the whole Nonnatus thing. Or do you want to carry on to the Sister Frances then? And then go back to Nonnatus?
We need to talk about other stuff. We need to talk about Sister Hilda, and we need to talk about Sister Frances.
Carol. Okay, yeah. So should we do Carol first?
Yeah, let's do Carol first.
This is maybe one of the saddest storylines ever on the show.
Oh, can I just say as well, by the way, Sister Frances did not 100% did not leave all clinical decisions to the midwife.
No, she's
like exactly as I'd expect in my room, and then she was like, no.
The whole second episode, like this whole episode, she was bossing that nurse around 100% of the time. The only decision the nurse made on her own was to inject Carol with that drug to get the placenta to come out faster.
Yeah,
because remember she said like
that. What really annoyed me about that was as well, this midwife was obviously older than Sister Frances.
Had probably delivered 1,000 more babies. Yeah,
has probably worked loads of the different district things as well. Been a midwife probably there. And then she's telling her about long-standing traditions. I'm thought a bit like, mate, do you know what I mean?
You've been doing this for 3 years, ma'am, and this lady has probably delivered 4,500 children in her lifetime.
Yeah. And you're telling her what to do. I just thought, mate, calm it.
Well, also, it did annoy me a little bit that it's like, you're in her house, okay? Like, their hospital procedure is its own thing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and because they didn't have time. I know that she said it'd been half an hour. Sister Frances said it can take up to an hour. I was just like, it is a different dynamic in hospital.
Yeah, they do have to
clear rooms.
Yeah.
Also, can you imagine if you were one of the women who was out in the hallway, like laboring really intensely, and you needed to get into that delivery room, and there's a lady in there not only having a bath, but a leisurely cup of tea and a piece of toast? Oh, no, I would have been so pissed off at that if that was me and I couldn't get into a room because they were like, oh, there's another, I would have been like, I would have been mad.
Yeah, exactly.
So, also, by the way, when Sister Frances was like, oh, she's gonna remember her birth, I'm like, yes, ma'am, and so are all of the other people who are giving birth right now too. They're all gonna remember their birth. Like,
no, 100%.
But
so, go on.
Well, I was going to say about the baby.
Go on.
Oh, about Carol's baby?
So I had some sympathy for the nurse, but then also it was the classic, they didn't let her see the baby.
Yeah.
But how far along do you think she was?
Not far enough along, because that baby
said, because Sister Frances said she's too little, like her lungs haven't developed, so she won't breathe.
I was going to say maybe 24 weeks, 26 weeks.
Yeah, I thought
max.
something like that.
Carol is a child herself still.
Yeah. She didn't even she never looked pregnant in the first episode ever.
No. But she was asking, she was like, will there be a funeral? And Sister Francis was like, no. And then she was like, but will they throw away? And Sister Francis was like, no. And then she kind of went to look for the baby.
In a room
And
labelled sluice.
yeah.
Oh, and do you remember the last time we were in a sluice room, you guys?
Yeah.
Oh.
But then poor Carol's like, I threw her away, pretended she didn't exist. It's the same as my mum did to me. Oh my God.
Oh, Carol was killing me. I was heartbroken for this girl.
So
But
Sister Francis gets
actually, I take back what I said about that nurse. I think it was right that she didn't let us see the baby. I don't know. It's very difficult.
I think there's a
it would be
case to be
very
made for not
upsetting.
seeing it. I think there's a case to be made for not seeing
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I definitely
It'd be
do.
very upsetting, especially as she kind of ignored this baby all along anyway. So it's kind of like it was quite confronting, probably.
Well,
But
and let's be real. What was Carol gonna do in the moment? Like, it's not a kind of a thing where, I mean, she's so discombobulated. She's so like, she was denying she was pregnant for so long. She's traumatized by her own life history. Like, she's only 16. I mean, like, if she had wanted to have a moment with her child and it could be something, like, I just think handing her that child at that stage in that moment could have potentially just traumatized her more. I think, yeah.
But the nurse got her a bed on female medical so that she didn't have to be around any new mothers and babies.
That was so nice.
That was nice. And when Sister Francis explained to her the long-standing tradition that
She nunsplained.
Well, I think the nurse at that point was like, okay, I know how this is gonna go. So, like, what do you want me to do? Just tell me.
But
Just tell me
yeah,
what to do.
when she explained it to her, she was like, she was
Ooh.
on board straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like she'd never heard about them putting a baby in a coffin, which we've been told about before on this loads, and it's been a long-standing tradition. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the nurse did not deliver it in this way at all. She was very genuine and very compassionate, but I almost got the feeling she was just kind of like, just tell me what you want me to do so that I can be
Yeah.
done with this. Like,
Yeah.
we just got to keep moving along. Like, I'll do whatever you want, ma'am. Like, we just got to move this forward,
Yeah.
She didn't have that attitude at all, but,
I did when I watched it. So then Sister Francis took the baby to the morgue, right? And then obviously then she went back to the crane crash. But then let's go back to the Carol. So then she came to the hospital to drop some stuff off for Sister Julianne, and then she came to see Carol while she was at hospital, right?
Yeah.
And Carol was basically like, I feel like I don't know anything. And so Sister Francis tries to like kind of find out from the consultant what
The
the issue
consultant
was.
said to her that she's got liver disease, and she's like, people die from liver disease.
Yeah.
I don't know why we even had this part of the story though.
That's what I thought.
This
Yeah,
is
it was not
totally
necessary.
superfluous. It didn't make any sense. Sister Francis had already advocated and like shown up for her so many times. Like, I just was like, why are we adding this like non-starter liver disease story? Like,
I think
it didn't make any sense.
I think it was more to kind of say that even now, this 16-year-old, they're focusing on not kindness and caring for her. They're focusing on trying to get the coil fitted with us, trying to stop this happening in the future. And I thought, what's wrong with that though? Because this is really bad. Like she should have some kind of preventative method as well, because she keeps doing the same thing. Like she's shown this.
And that's where I was like frustrated with the writing actually, or like Carol's story at the end, because when she's walking with Dean in the crib, or not crib, in the little pram thing, and she's with Sister Francis, she's like, oh, by the way, I've decided I'm not gonna get the coil, and I'm not gonna get the whatever the other one is. I'm not gonna do the pill or anything like that. She's like, because you know what? Like I've decided that I'm never gonna be around boys anymore because I'm not gonna look for love that way, and da 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 da. And Sister Francis is like, oh, okay, yeah, great,
Job
great
done.
choice. I'm like, ma'am.
I mean, she's already proven to be a liar before.
Well,
So
I just thought, like, okay, you're saying that right now, but like, what happens in 6 months when like you're you're mentally in a different place? Like, maybe something happens,
exactly
maybe
what
like
I
somebody's
thought.
like nice to you, and you've been a little bit lonely, and like, I don't know. I was just like, why? It was so. I mean, to me, if she had said, "I am gonna get the coil," because I just want to make sure that I'm in charge of my reproductive health. I have no intention of being with any boys, but I just want to have the control. That to me would have been a more empowered and mature decision. But to me, the way that they left it with Carol, I was like, oh my God, you're still a child. Like, you're still just a child.
Although,
like,
shout out to the scene with Nancy saying, "Sex, who needs it?" in front of a room full of nuns.
I absolutely love that.
Which, by the way, Nancy, I'm not gonna say it, but
But then she says girls think they want sex. What they actually want is to be wanted, while a simple kindness would do the same. So actually, Nancy was very wise.
Well, it did get It did get them to. It did
Jen,
get Francis thinking.
Wise.
Oh my God, what is with Bex? You've got an issue. You think we've got an issue? It's like this weird disorder.
This is your mental illness, Bex.
So this act of kindness that Sister Francis thought of, was burying the baby with Dorothy and
Mrs. Carney.
Yeah, Mrs. Carney.
I was like, oh, are we skipping ahead? But no, yes, let's.
Yeah. So then the last scene with just because then we can close up on Carol. Sister Francis is with
Let me
Carol.
intro this. So, what was she called? Mrs. I don't have a note of her name.
Mrs. Carney.
Mrs. Carney.
No, her daughter.
Pauline
Carney. Yeah, Pauline.
No, she wasn't Carney.
Oh,
I know, but just say Pauline. You don't have to worry about what her married name was.
So Mrs. Carney's daughter, Pauline, comes to Nonnatus House, and she's talking to. So we're kind of skipping a bit because we're in the days after the train crash, and she says that her mother loved the Nonnatans, and she was hoping that
she always loved being around babies anyway. That was like one of her big passions, like no matter if it was hers or someone else's. She
obviously knew that Sister Julianne had been in the train crash. She said she would have loved it if she'd have made her a cup of tea or something, and she really hoped that she'd been with one. She didn't say she really hoped.
Well, she knew she'd been with her because she had the wimple.
Yes, that's why she came.
I was getting to that.
Oh, sorry.
So she's saying to Sister Hilda that she was really hoping that she had interacted with Sister Julianne, made her a cup of tea, that she'd seen her. And then she says, and then I was sorting through her belongings and I came across this, and she has Sister Julianne's wimple. And she says that she's tried to wash it, but she can't get the blood stains out. So she says she must have been with one of you. And at that point, I started sobbing.
Yeah. It was very emotive.
Mm-hmm.
So then for Sister Francis to then be like, oh, there is a kindness you can do.
I loved when Sister Hilda then said, this reminded me of me being Sister Francis in this situation, because Sister Hilda then said, and would you like to share that with your sisters before you put Mrs.
Pauline.
Yeah, but she says Mrs. Anyway, before you put her in an awkward position. And I just thought that is exactly what Alex would say to me.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that was what you would say to Alex or one of us.
No, I would be like,
what?
I feel like I would be the one just speaking out of turn.
Oh, okay. But it was actually a really sweet thing, because then we don't even see the ask. It just cuts to Sister Francis saying to Carol, this is what I've arranged for you, and this is the family, and I think that this is really going to be great. And she gives Carol a flower from Mrs. Carney's burial bouquet and everything. I thought you didn't think it was nice?
I thought it was gorgeous.
Oh, okay. The look on your face, I wasn't sure what you were.
No, with pain of crying because it was just so gorgeous.
Oh, God,
actually, I think Mrs. Carney would have loved it. And I think it was just the perfect situation for Carol and her baby. Just all around it. Brilliant solution.
Well, so then Carol gets flowers for the Carneys as well, and brings them and gets them to meet. And then Sister Francis is like, "Oh, I've got to go now." And then she's like, "Oh, my daughter's got a baby that age." And then she's left with them. And
and I just feel like
she doesn't need birth control. She just got to talking to her family.
Yeah,
I
just think that sets up a whole community for Carol.
Yes, this is like her honorary adoptive family. That's what I really hope too.
Yeah.
Because the Lord knows Carol needs it. My God, does anyone need it more than Carol?
100%. Now, can we talk about the fact that I completely forgot the train driver's wife was giving birth? Like all this was going on. And
you
suddenly
did?
We cut to Adina giving birth. And I was like, oh my God, I totally forgot about her.
Oh, I felt so bad for her. She kept on being like, my husband's going to be here any minute. And we're just like, honey, no, she isn't. Like,
but also she was like, my husband wants a son. And I thought, well, that means she's having a boy for definite.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, all mothers who go through this get what they need.
But then at one point she was like, I haven't got the strength. Now, can I just say, this was amazing, right? Sister Hilda was like, an absolute ocean of hormones are going to come to your rescue. What an amazing advice that is. Like, that would genuinely really help me, that advice. I was just like, brilliant. I wish I'd had that when I was giving birth, showering. Get it out of me.
Like that an ocean of hormones is going to help you?
Yeah. Like, I feel like that's actually really good. It's like, gets you like, do you know what, actually, I can do this. My body's going to help me. Yeah, I thought that was really good. Anyway, we've spoken about the fact that Sister Hilda is with Adina And Miss Higgins comes in and she's like, "Stop thief, where are you going with my Savlon?" kind of thing. And then Miss Higgins tells her that he's died in a car crash, as if they wouldn't hear it, by the way. I know I've said that, but it's really not car crash. Sorry, in the train crash.
Train crash, yeah.
Yeah. Now, Hilda, very rightly so, Sister Hilda, says she doesn't want her to know that she's a widow until after the baby's born. Right.
But she also says, you need to get me 100% confirmation of that.
Yeah, before we break the news. But do you feel like in the olden days, in the 50s or whatever, as opposed to now, they would have not told her till the next day because she needs to rest? Like, I feel like they've have had situations before where they've told them bad news and stuff after they've had a rest.
Yeah.
But nowadays, they're telling them straight away.
I mean, the thing is, she kind of did. I mean, because they waited until after she gave birth.
The thing is, though, I don't think they could have waited, because she would wonder why he wasn't.
I think that's
sleep.
right.
She might have slept.
Yeah, but why wasn't he there? Like,
yeah.
She was watching the clock like a hawk, you know? Like, I mean, at a certain point, she was going to be like, where the hell is my husband? Like, what has happened?
I just think in the past, they probably would have tried to hide it from her. Anyway, we saw him dead. We saw them put a thing over his body, so we had the confirmation, and then obviously they told him. I thought baby was so cute, wasn't he?
Oh my God. I have in huge capitals, the cutest baby.
He was absolutely good. And when she saw him, she was like, "I have everything."
Oh, my God.
Sister Hilda's look was like, oh, like an emoji.
I know. She's like, "Well, honey, just wait a minute. You know, you might want to take that. That isn't going to age well."
I think I have a huge insight here. So, and it didn't, I don't know if it even got mentioned in the last episode. So their eldest daughter is called Roberta, but they call her Bobby. Is that a shout out to Sister Julienne's origin story as Bobby from the Railway Children?
Oh,
what?
It's a train crash as well.
Yeah.
Sister Julienne, Jenny Agutter was in the Railway Children and played Bobby.
Very famous role.
Oh, I had no idea about that.
That film is still on every so often on a bank holiday.
Yeah,
have you never seen the Railway Children?
I've heard of them, but no, I haven't seen them
because Sister Julienne's in it.
When Jenny Agutter, not God rest her soul, but when she does die, that's what they'll say on the news. It'll be the Railway Children.
Well, I don't know. Maybe Call The Midwife will overtake that.
I don't know. She's so famous for the Railway Children.
Yeah.
They'll call her legendary actress of stage and screen, most well known for such roles as, and then, you know.
But I just think it was a shout out to the Railway Children.
I like that. I like that insight. But anyway, so they're talking about Bobby and like, shall we get your daughter? And she's like, well, she's in good caring hands. Let her sleep. Tomorrow she will have to start a new life with me. And I just thought,
I know.
You know what I also really love, though? That Lucille, because obviously Lucille's been away from maternity and stuff, but now she's obviously back. But Lucille was being sent to look after her and Roberta. And then when Roberta was there all upset, she was like, you don't have to be brave. And obviously she was harking back to her grief. And I was like, oh, I love that. Roberta was like, I like the name Jeremy. And she was like, well, that could be the middle name.
I like when and then she said it could be an R or a B because we call you Bobby. And she's like, Barry.
I like that Adina looked really awkward. But then Lucille suggested Benedict.
I'm not sure how that was a massively better choice, to be honest with you. Sorry.
They'll just call him Ben.
She was named after the eggs.
That I guess I could get behind. Yeah. Benedict just seemed like, I mean, when Lucille said it, she was just like, the way Lucille said it with such confidence, she was just like, oh, Barry is nice, but Benedict. And it was just like, yep, that's going to be perfect. Like, that strikes. I was just like,
yeah, there's not a lot of thought that's gone into that.
Yeah, I was like, ma'am, that is the most also random as hell name you could think of.
Name after her husband.
Yeah.
I thought that was definitely where they were going. I mean, I can't remember what her husband's name was, but I was like, why aren't we
Lionel?
Or something. I was just like, what are we doing here? I don't know. That was just a really crazy, like.
But what other B names are there for men?
Brian, like
Bernard.
But no, because you couldn't have Bob and Bobby.
You could, but it would be weird.
Well, I mean, they could have named him Robert.
Brian's probably a big name.
I said Brian.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Benedict and Bobby does go well together.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, but they didn't once call her Bobby in the first episode. It was always Roberta.
Roberta. That's why I think it's the Railway Children shout out.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's carry on with Adina because we need to talk about the other stuff as well. So Adina, they're at the hospital, at the maternity home, but she removes herself because Roberta's been bullied at school, and she's, about her dad and stuff, saying that he's caused the crash and stuff. And she just removes herself. And I thought, oh my God, she's in for a world of pain. I thought it's going to be awful. And then she gets home and she sees the wallpapered,
this
room.
Also made me sob.
It made me sob.
Room.
But I tell you what, then it made me annoyed. I thought, what the hell do you think? You'd had a baby yesterday and you're trying to wallpaper a bloody room, you absolute moron. I realise it's grief. Again, and all this, but my Christ,
this is not a sensible thinking person right now.
Yeah,
this is a person who is so lost. I mean, so lost. Yeah, we all have.
Well, I'm really, really glad they put the next scene in, which is Miss Higgins having an informal discussion with the coroner and basically talking to her, and her and Sister Hilda basically say about the brain tumour that caused seizures. He was not to blame. He was not careless. He was not to blame. And oh my God, I just felt so relieved for her, because also I just thought she's gonna have the community around her now rather than being vilified by them. And I just thought, God.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I hope that information becomes public. Like, I feel like that's the kind of thing that would go over a lot of people's heads. Like,
no, that'd be in papers. It wasn't like the internet was there spreading misinformation at the same time. It would be in the papers.
Okay.
And also, they weren't used to all these untruths and stuff then. It was a better time, guys.
I mean, I think you're giving it a lot of rose-colored glasses, to be honest, but okay, sure, I'm with you there.
And then Fred wallpapering.
No, they would have just said that the train driver was taken ill. That's what they would have said.
I thought there
after the inquest, they'll have done it. They'll have said in paper.
I thought there was going to be some guilt that Adina might have had about ignoring his symptoms. Because
they said themselves, like, the fits that he was having were so fleeting that he might not have even been aware of them. I don't think there's any guilt to be had there.
I mean, I probably would, but at the same time, I very much minimise whenever he's ill, so I don't have to deal with it.
Yeah, but she wasn't aware of, or was she aware of any symptoms?
She was. Yes,
that
was a key feature of the first episode in their relationship. Like how he was like, my head hurts, like I have a headache, like, oh, I can't remember this, like, oh, why didn't I do that? I thought I really had, I mean, he was talking about how he felt ill a lot, and she was always dismissing everything that he said.
Like,
and I'm not saying she should be blamed, but I'm just saying, like, we talked about this in the first episode.
In her defense, she did have that horrendous pain in her pubis and stuff, and he's just complaining about a headache. I'd be a bit like,
you know what though, you can't blame yourself for there's no blame to be had there.
You shouldn't blame yourself, but I'm just saying that's
like none.
I just think, no.
My head is in my hands.
Right.
She can't blame herself for that.
She's got a lovely wallpapered house by Fred
agree
now.
She should not blame herself, but I'm just saying this is the kind of thing that happens when you're in these situations. It doesn't make sense, but it exists. That's all I'm saying. So
yeah. So anyway, she's got a lovely wallpapered house, courtesy of Fred, who we all love, right?
Yeah.
And then hopefully they have a lovely life without blame thrown at them, and everything's great for them. I hope that.
Yes. I hope so as well. Yes.
So, shall we go back to the aftermath of the accident to Nonnatus House, where basically they've done all the triaging and they're all going to bed now, right?
Yep.
So, Lucille and Cyril are going to Lucille's old bedroom because obviously they can't sleep at their place because obviously the windows were all blown in. And Sister Frances is sharing with Nurse Corrigan because Matthew's staying in her room, right? And I did think, like, I know Matthew will be tired, but
he could have just gone home.
There? Yeah, I did think he could have just gone home. Yeah.
Well, my thing was like, are you gonna, like, I thought they were all staying there not because of their housing issues, but because it was like tomorrow morning we've got to deal with everything. And so we're gonna need like all hands on deck to do that. That's why I thought.
Right. Well, no, yours makes loads more sense then. Well done, Jen. My was like, why is he
thank you that I got one thing right in this whole episode.
Matthew will have driven there. Matthew could have just driven himself home.
He's very tired. He's very tired. He's doing stuff tomorrow. We've already discussed it with Jen. Jen's just confirmed. So anyway, then who turns up, right? Now this, I'm not gonna lie, guys, this really annoyed me. Nurse Crane comes in, right?
I was insane this was the real mistake to me. I agree.
Yeah, because I absolutely love her, sense. Right?
Yeah.
But she's looking all happy, right? Bearing in mind, outside, there's bloody glass everywhere, half of a train on the floor. Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely ridiculous outside. She already knew about it because we had it confirmed later, right? This is what pissed me off. So she looks all happy until she gets inside Nonnatus. Oh my God, what state And I'm like, you
But girls, here's where I thought I had missed something, because when we missed the scene where everybody, it's the end of the night, everything's kind of like died down for a minute. They're all sitting around the big table where they eat dinner. Sister Frances literally has tears streaming down her face. Sister Julian is in the hospital. We think she's had a heart attack. We think she might never recover. Maybe she's never going to come back. Matthew is sitting there. He's like, well, what do you think's going to happen if she doesn't come back? She's like, that's the end of all of us. Like, the Nonnatus House is going to, like, start to sink, and then we'll all drown. Like, so
be
dramatic.
A ship
so
without
dramatic.
a rudder.
Yeah, like we're going to be lost at sea. Hold on
I've just got a note that says that's the spirit.
So it's like this super dramatic scene. They're all just like on tenterhooks, and it's like who's gonna organize for us? Like, Sister Julian is the only one that's like managing to keep us all together. She like does everything all the time. Like, she is like the guiding light that we need. And so in that moment, like a minute later, you see Miss Higgins go to the phone, and she's like, please connect me with blah 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 blah, wherever the address is. And I was like, oh, okay, I know what's happening here. She's calling Phyllis. Like, Phyllis is gonna be able to come in, because they're like kind of, Phyllis isn't the same, but it's like, someone who's in charge, someone who can be a boss, someone who can manage in times of stress and peril.
Really quick, just before that, I just want to say this. Mojo was saying, what will befall us without Sister Julienne? And Sister Frances was like, I'll tell you, we will drown. Yes. And that is where you were like, that's the spirit. But I was just like, could you be any more of a Debbie Downer right now, Sister Frances? Like, normally she's very, very... I think they did that scene for Sister Frances to show how Sister Frances was proper panicking and what a disaster it was. Sorry.
Well, and I thought that scene, it was emblematic of the fact that this woman has been in the last 48 hours going from like one tragedy and like, hardship and like painful situation to another, and just was like completely overwhelmed, completely emotionally bankrupt at that moment. Like, just empty in the tank, just completely like lost with, whatever. So I'm thinking, okay, Miss Higgins is calling Phyllis. Well, then the next morning, Phyllis shows up with a smile on her face. And I honestly thought, wait a minute, she didn't call Phyllis, because if she called Phyllis would know what the bleep she was coming home to, and why she was leaving her vacation a little bit early to get there. And it was insane to me that Phyllis like walked in and she was just like, hello, like expecting everyone to just, be like having tea and toast in the main room. But then
going into bloody wake them all up. They've been up till after clock, they have. And then she's rudely awakening them. I thought she was so out of line.
Yeah, she was like, wakey, like, I guess, what did she say to the two girls? She was like, I guess you, like, don't know what an alarm clock is anymore, or, like, you're allergic to the sound of your alarm clock or whatever. And Nancy was like, oh my God. She, like, rolled over, went back to bed. I was like, absolutely right. Frances was like, what? Like,
if I was Nancy,
disoriented.
You know what, guys? I went to a concert this week, actually. I went to see Deftones on Tuesday, and it was amazing, right? There was a fight in the crowd. It was one of the most amazing fights I've ever seen in my life. Because it was between two women, right? And one of them was on someone's shoulders. There is a point to this. And one was on someone's shoulders, and another one got annoyed, and loads of people were like, get down, right? So anyway, another one behind her got in her face, right? And put her middle fingers right up to her face. Like, it was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But also the best. And I thought, you know what? If that was me, I'd have done that to Nurse Crane. How dare you? After I've been in she's been rattling around a fucking train carriage. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was the most traumatic night of her life. And then she's just like, oh my God, what are you doing in bed? Get up. What? That's what I would do. The Deftones.
It was a
double
insult. Like, I can't tell if it was just written badly, even though I love the writing earlier in the episode, or if it was just like everyone had just kind of like missed, like somehow a continuity thing just wasn't happening on set, or Phyllis just didn't get the note and she'd been, I don't know what was going on.
Phyllis does not lack compassion. And that's what that scene made it look like she did. Yeah.
Yes, and it also looked like she had no idea what had happened like 12 hours ago. It was a crazy misreading of the whole situation. It was bonkers. I just was like, ugh, it really annoyed me.
So then she sends Sister Frances to the hospital, blah, 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 right? Now, can we talk about Sister Julienne sitting in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
Because again, I'm not going to lie, this annoyed me, and I was annoyed with the writers, right?
Oh.
This Julienne is sat at hospital, right? With
wait, before we go into this, can I just say Nurse Crane was in Rye, and Rye is lovely for any listeners who are visiting the UK.
UK Travel Board, here we go. Tourism.
Maybe that's why she was being a complete bitch to everyone, because she was in a really nice place not to come back to Poplar.
She had to leave her vacation early that she'd paid for with her £5,000.
Poplar Valley, though, remember everyone? Poplar Valley. So she's there in hospital, and she's basically saying about the fact that she's, really upset and worried about her health. My life will be short and I will be an invalid. And we were all like, oh my God, her life's going to be so short. And we're really worried. And Sheila's there reading Julianne of Norwich and they're all crying. And she's like, I'm just so sorry. You know what I mean? Like, it's just this really awful scene where we're like, oh my God, Sister Julianne, like, what we're going to do without her?
And I also was like, dang, like one heart attack and you're just done? Like that
I know,
was
I
the
was
end?
maybe in those days, like, I don't know, I was just like, really?
I mean,
Well, I was like distraught, guys, distraught, right? Then
Well,
in the next bloody scene, she's like, oh, it was just 4 broken ribs and an arm. No heart attack at all. Clean bill of health. What?
She's
Why
like,
did you put us through that?
Well, she's like, my symptoms were just masking like the fact that it was, a blah blah blah. So like, they thought it was
a
that,
graze.
but it's really not. Like, and I was like, oh, she was literally back in her uniform. She'd gotten dressed.
Do you know why I
She
blame
wasn't even
Jen?
in the hospital account anymore.
Do you know why I blame Dr. Tim? So I don't. I don't. So then, yeah, she's like, oh, clean bit of health for me. And then I do have to say, I did love the welcome home for Sister Julianne when Dr. Turner's sitting there with his head in a bloody bandage.
The welcome home for Sister Julianne was right. The spread, lovely. The welcome home banner. The welcome home banner, lovely. The weird wedding car, flowers on the parcel shelf, ribbons.
It was like she died and come back to life or something. It was so strange.
The wedding car was so weird.
It was like they'd had all these flowers left over from Mrs. Carney, like God rest her soul, and they were like, well, they've got to go somewhere, and so then they just bedecked out this lady's. I mean, there was literally a garland on the back of the. You know how like old cars have like a bench seat in the back, and then like there's like a window that's like sloping, so there's like this little almost like
parcel shelf
bench, yeah. So it's like she had like a little, it was. I was like, what?
Fun fact: I first went to McDonald's on a parcel shelf. My auntie, I don't even want to say her name on the podcast in case she won't get
no, it was another time. It was
40 years ago.
I think the statute of limitations on a potential child endangerment case is well past.
My aunt's Denise, I'm naming her. She took me and Liam, my brother, to McDonald's. McDonald's opened in Macclesfield. It was a big, exciting event. Ooh. And she took us in her little MG midget, but it was a 2-seater, her and her friend Joe in the front. And me and Liam, aged 3 and 5, were on the parcel shelf. That's the 80s for you guys.
Oh my God.
No, I've been on so many. My chicken pox story where I was in the boot going to the tip. I've also been, I always used to be the one that had to go in the boot when we went anywhere, when we had a car full of kids, or sit in the passenger footwell.
Oh, okay. So guys, I've got one. So we had a station wagon growing up, and there was like the front seat, the back seat, and then we would call the way back. And apparently, like I always thought we were the only family that ever did that. But then, like when I was in high school, there was another friend of ours, like family friend, who he referred to something in his car as the way back, and we were all like, oh my God, we thought we only said our way back. But so you'd sit in the way back.
Looked it up. It looks like a bit like the Ghostbusters thing.
Oh yeah, the station wagon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so you'd sit in the way back as a kid, because usually if there were like other like adults or like bigger people, like the littlest kids would kind of get thrown back there. But the other thing that a lot of cars had at this time, and I can't remember if our car had it or if it was just like a family member's car had it, but in the way back there could sometimes be like a thing that was like where you could put like like a flat part where you could put like bags and storage, and it was like a trunk kind of a deal. But then you could lift it up and there would be like a little bench seat back there, but it would be facing the back of the car. So instead of facing like forward as the car is driving forward, you'd be facing the back.
Yeah.
And so there were times where you'd often put like little kids back there too, like this little bench seat. And I'm sure that was like deeply unsafe, honestly, because like like now you could never put a kid in that type of a seat at that age, because it just wouldn't, we wouldn't do it. But in that, of course, we did.
How did we get onto that? Oh, flowers on the parcel shelf.
Yeah. But Sister Julianne is coming home, and it's like, all hail the, returning hero and everything.
Which in all fairness, she was. Home.
Yeah.
And also it was really nice. We need that photo book, guys, to be released. The Nurse Crane's photo book, because honestly, she had all these amazing photos. And I like the way they had Trixie there as well. Matthew was there.
No, I thought that was unnecessary, the picture of Trixie. She wasn't there.
Oh, bloody hell. What a fun police here. Do you know what I mean?
I need to shout out a few things. So when Timothy came to visit Dr. Turner in hospital, did anyone notice his Star Trek outfit?
No.
What?
I'll get a screenshot of it and we can share it on our social media.
Was it actually a Star Trek outfit or just looked like it?
It just looked like he'd stepped out.
Oh, good. I was about to say, he's not doing cosplay of a show that's probably not.
I thought he was just wearing like regular 70s clothes, but Okay.
It was awful. But what I was loving was Reggie's jumper when he was talking to.
Oh, the reporter. I've got that here. So the reporter comes to the haberdasheries.
No, so it's
Oh no, to Violet.
To Violet, yeah.
Oh,
that was a deleted scene.
Yeah, I'll get pics.
But
will she? Will she, listeners? Will she get pictures?
Oh no, you won't. But
I
did love. I did love the sweater that Reggie.
How's your Miranda House book going? Becky just swore on the podcast.
Okay, let's be real though. Bex, when are you going to finish reading that book?
That's admin. We're in the middle of a podcast, Jen.
So anyway, should
we talk about what time we're recording next as well?
Anyway, so a reporter comes to the haberdasheries, right, and he's looking for a fresh angle, right, and he's being a bit weird with Violet, and Violet is like, I'm not going to comment on this. And Councillor, wow.
When we were talking about Nurse Crane, some points I forgot to mention, but I'll come back to those. Yeah, you carry on.
Thank you. So anyways, Violet's like trying to stop it from being this horrible story where they're just trying to get, what's the word? Exploit people.
Like salacious details.
Yeah.
And...
So she's like, there's heroes everywhere you look. In fact, look at Reggie. And she says about Reggie, about the fact that he did tea. That tea photo shoot was the best thing. I would love a picture of Reggie with surrounded by tea bags, teapots, and teacups in my house on the wall, because that shot was amazing.
Mm-hmm. And they did it. I was also impressed with when Carol went to the allotment to meet the Carney family. They had a full-on teapot in the park. They weren't just they didn't just have flasks.
Yeah,
I mean, that had like a packet of custard creams.
The point I forgot to say when we were talking about Nurse Crane, when she walks in, I loved the scene when Cyril was getting out of bed and Nurse Crane barges in and he's like, ooh, and jumps back into bed. Nurse Crane not fazed at all to see Cyril in his underwear, but then shocked to see fully clothed Mr. Aylward come out of a room. But it's fine that she's just seen Cyril in his undies.
But also it's the way she was just like, oh, is it a hotel? I thought, there's been a bloody train crash, mate. Why are you acting like...
It was nuts the way that she was acting. She was like, oh, is this the YMCA? It's like, ma'am, what do you think happened here? Like, what do you understand the context of any of this? Like, it was so weird that she was just so flabbergasted by it all. And it
was really rude. I really didn't like it.
Like, she just thought that like all of them had just totally slacked off for like 6 weeks while she was gone. Not that they'd had some like tragic event or whatever. But
she knows they're all medical professionals. They've obviously done the best they can. They've sorted it, and now they've gone to bed. And then she's like, "Oh God, look at you!" I'm like, "What?"
I did wonder if they should have tidied up a bit before they went to bed. You just power through, don't you?
You're just doing this to taunt us now, Bex. Like it's not sincere anymore. This is all part of a horror game.
That was a genuine thought.
Nancy. Let's just slag off Nancy for the hell of it now, Jen. I wouldn't even mind. She genuinely thinks we've got a problem with it when we haven't. So she get really defensive. Like Nancy could like stab a child in front of her, and Bex would be like, "It's not her fault. The child's
be like, it was justified. It was justified. Anyone would have done the same."
Don't even hate Nancy.
No, I don't think you do. I don't think you do, Alex.
Oh.
Yes, listeners, it's been a great run. We've had so much fun. I hope you enjoy your all British cast for all episodes going forward. I no longer feel I'm an accurate representative of the fandom that this podcast wants to.
No, remember, you're the light, she's the shade. We need you.
I'm the Sister Francis of this situation.
No, you're not. So you're Nancy.
when she said that we were all going to drown.
Oh, true. Actually, yeah. That was very un-Sister Francis like as well.
So it was. Yeah, you could tell she had really been through the ringer at that stage in the game. Like,
I mean, it was really... pretty bloody intense, wasn't it? The whole situation. So to have Nurse Crane come in and make everyone feel awful about it, I thought was a real, really great for everyone's spirits. Anyone else got anything else to say on these?
No, I've exhausted my notes.
Do I have any other notes? I mean, there were actually some, and I didn't really write them down in enough detail, but there were some really good, like, little kind of mini scenes between, like, I think Cyril had a really good scene with Sister Monica Joan when she was kind of in her, like, sad sack thing, and he told her, he was like, well, kind of need to, like, pull yourself together. There were just I mean, this was not, it's not funny, but like when Lucille was walking up the hallway and Matthew was coming down the other hallway down the steps, and he said about the compound fracture and how I needed more bandages. But the way that she was holding the hand and the arm of the lady from the church, and the lady had her hand over her eye, like with the glass and everything, it was the most awkward thing ever. And I just remember thinking like it was just such a weird blocking to like have for that whole scene, and it was very strange. And I also wondered whatever happened to her. I mean, I know we know what happened to her, that she's ultimately fine, but I wish there had been, like some little word about.
Wasn't she cleaning up the church?
Oh,
Yeah.
they said that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't get that line.
Also,
Okay.
Jen, there was one scene I want to talk about, and then we'll do heroes and zeros. But it was a scene where Cyril and Lucille go into the bedroom and he takes her shoe off.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
not
Were you
gonna lie,
loving that?
I thought they were going to get amorous, but also I did think about Jen wishes that was her. It was quite sensual.
After that sort of day, I'd be like,
Sensual. Do you see what I did there?
I'll tell you what, my feet at the end of a long day would not
Sorry,
be as
guys.
nice
We just
as
have a thing
Lucille's.
for sensual.
that was good.
Oh,
Good.
sensual, yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm on Jen's wavelength here. I'd be like, no, don't touch my feet.
Yeah, I would be like, the last thing I want you to touch,
Also,
my love, is my feet. Like, they would
that.
be.
She did that in bloody high heels.
I know. Like a formal suit, high heels, the whole deal. Yeah, I was
I'd be
like,
the first to kick them off. Anyway, right. Should we do heroes and zeros?
Yes.
yes.
Who's
Who,
first?
Bex, you want to go?
My hero is going to be Miss Higgins.
Oh,
Nice.
good one.
Yeah. The way she helped, what were they called? Should know by now. The Corbett?
Oh, Adina and her family?
Yeah. The Corbetts.
Oh, Corbett, I think is right, yeah.
The way Miss Higgins helped the Corbetts by getting the sneak coroner's verdict.
Yeah.
The way she went to the maternity hospital to get the supply. I don't know, she was just bossing it, and she's not even a medical professional.
Yeah, she was.
Mm-hmm.
So Miss Higgins, and then my zero is going to be Sister Francis for that comment at the table.
Oh my God. I mean, it was dark.
Only for the comment, though.
And for stepping on that nurse's toes.
Okay.
She did promise she wasn't going to, and then did.
Yeah.
Jen?
Okay, my zero, I hate to say it because I love her so much.
You're going to take mine. Yeah.
It's gonna be Phyllis. Like,
yeah.
Just I can't get over it. Like, she's usually so spot on and so like ahead of the game, like 3 steps ahead. And this time she completely missed the mark, and it was absolute insanity, and it made me crazy. So sorry, Phyllis, I love you so much, but no. My hero, I am gonna give it for this scene that absolutely tore me in half. I'm going to give it to Sister Julian and Mrs. Carney together for their scene in the train where Mrs. Carney is talking to her about giving birth to her babies, and they're holding hands, and Sister Julian pulls off the wimple, and she, calls her Dorothy, and then she prays over her. I mean, it was like, I know I was crying from word go, and I didn't stop the whole episode, but it's just so beautiful. And like, I mean, I keep saying this all episode, but like, I haven't said this in a minute, but when this show gets it right, it just gets it so, like, give them an award. I don't know what awards you guys give people for TV shows, but like, whatever they should get it,
Just after.
Give them an award for that alone. Like, I loved it.
Yeah. Okay, my zero is going to be the brain tumor. I know me and Bex have both had people in our families with brain tumors, and it's a zero. It's never a good thing. And that obviously caused that train crash in the first place. My hero, I've got a few heroes that haven't been mentioned. So I'm going to do Fred for the wallpapering and also the CDC in.
Yeah.
Sister Francis is going to get a hero for how she dealt with the whole thing with Carol. Yes, there was a moment where she was absolutely in despair and awful, but I love her. And also Sister Hilda for how sensitive and lovely she was as well. And also, to be fair, the whole Nonnatus House were bossing it. So maybe all of them get a special mention.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a great episode, guys.
It was a great one. I mean,
I loved it.
Yeah, truly a top 5 for me. I feel very confident I can say that for my own opinion. Yeah.
Also, bloody hard to talk about on a podcast with some semblance of order. I mean, without all our ramblings and stuff as well.
Yeah. I don't know if we'll ever do this, but like, listeners, maybe you can say if you want to. I think there could be an interesting case to be made for all of us to watch the episode together and do like a live commentary. Like, you know how they do for movies and stuff where people are like watching the movie, but then they're talking over the movie and they're telling stories about it and, you know, just commenting on all the things that are happening on screen. These two episodes I think would be good episodes to do a commentary of because they are hard to talk about like in passing, but I think there's like a lot going on. I don't know, just a thought I had.
I do think it's good though. There's three of us. We've got like three of. If someone's missed something, you know, everyone at home screaming would miss something like with the COVID thing that time. But do you know what I mean?
I'm sure. Yeah.
So hopefully we haven't missed much. So yeah.
Yeah. We did our best.
Yeah. Anyway, next week we'll be doing the Christmas episode.
Yes.
So watch along and listen with us. What's up, Bex?
Well, just the Christmas episode is such a big episode, but we've just had such a big episode.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what happens in the Christmas episode, honestly. Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, we'll find out.
Maybe I do. Well, we'll find out, I guess.
We will find out.
And wait, so there's only 14 episodes. 14. So we haven't covered series 12, 13, and 14, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, right. Thank you so much for listening. Follow us online on all our social media, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.